Well, we'll go ahead and get started this morning with Ty Dillon, driver of the number 3 Wesco Chevrolet and the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ty coming into New Hampshire with a lot of hope, with not only here at New Hampshire, but next week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you have a win in the Xfinity Series and a chance to grab a second Dash for Cash win, which would punch your ticket into the Xfinity Series chase. So just talk about your feelings about the car right now and your chances of really securing your spot in the Xfinity Series chase.
Yeah, we've been running really well, and I see Loudon as an opportunity for us to get a win and hopefully punch that ticket before we have to get to Indy. Yeah, obviously we always circle Indy on the map, being that I got my first win there and feel like it's a place that I've ran really well at and always have a great opportunity. But last couple weeks we've been really strong, even at Kentucky. I really put ourselves in a hole by crashing and qualifying at a new track with new pavement that was really tough to pass on. But we still got a decent finish out of it. And if you look back, our past couple finishes before, if you discard Daytona, because Daytona is Daytona, we've been really on a roll here lately, and we're getting closer. We're competing. It's nice to see that our RCR cars, Austin and I, have both been splitting up that Gibbs tandem more and more every time we're on the racetrack. So our trio every time we're on the racetrack. And I think if we put together a solid weekend, we can beat these guys and win races. So we're getting closer. We're starting to edge back in the race a little bit better. As far as the chase goes, I feel like we're pretty much locked in. We're so far ahead of the cutoff point. But we do want to get some wins and get some momentum for this chase and get some of those points that matter once it fires up.
Good deal. We'll open the floor to questions. We'll start with Claire and work our way around.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. As a young racer, what were your thoughts when you heard about Dale Jr. being out of the race this weekend in the Cup Series? And, I know you guys get baselines, but what is your educated thought about yourself, concussions, close encounters you've had?
Yeah, concussions are becoming bigger and bigger in every sport. And it's when Dale Jr. makes a decision in our sport, it's always widely impacted because young drivers like myself look up to him so much. I think it was a special move on his part. He's been in the sport for a long time to kind of take the lead and say, because I know as a guy like me, I really respect Dale. When he takes a step and says, I don't feel right, goes to the doctor, they tell him not to be in the race car, and he takes that step to not be in the race car because it's so hard going in the chase. He's got a lot of things he hasn't won yet. He's not locked in. But to take his health first, and as a leader of our sport, it's huge. So I really respect Dale's decision and really hope he gets well quick. And I think it's going to be huge for everyone in our sport to realize, the guy who kind of leads every movement or leads a lot of the movements in our sport is taking the step to make sure that drivers know to go ahead and take a weekend off if you're not feeling right, that it's going to be all right. People will respect that decision.
Go to Mark and then to Lewis.
Mark Carroll, PRN. Again, look, you mentioned Indy. I'm thinking of a bunch of races in my head, and I'm thinking, it surprised me it's been that long between wins for you after you won that race. Just your thoughts about, potentially going back there still trying to get number 2.
Yeah, I don't really look at Indy as the only place that we can win. Heck, we've been second and so close to winning so many races in the past 2 years. It's been heartbreaking and astonishing in the same sentence. But we've ran well. I don't know how many top 5s we had. We had a string last year at the end of the year where we had 9 or 10 top 5s in a row. And if you do that, you're going to win races. It's going to happen. We just got to get to where we can dominate these races and have a little bit more say-so in what we do. We've come awful close this year at Richmond. Had a shot at Dale in the last corner, and we ran second in Iowa and felt like we had a shot in the closing laps there too. And it's going to happen. You just got to be patient and keep going through the process the way we are, and executing is the big thing. And with the Gibbs cars being so good, the Toyotas being so good, everybody in the Xfinity Series is so tough. To win a race, you have to be perfect from the first time you roll on the racetrack. From the time you start getting better in practice, you can't mess up in qualifying, you can't crash. You're going to lose your opportunity because one mistake on pit road, one mistake on the racetrack on a restart or something, you're taking yourself out of contention to win. Just like the Cup Series, you got to be perfect the whole race, or else you're not even going to finish in the top 10. And with the Xfinity Series, you're not going to finish in the top 5 right now with how stout it is.
How do you guard against putting too much pressure on yourself or the team, putting so much pressure on themselves when, the carrot's right there a lot of times, as you talked about several times. It's been that close.
It's very hard. There's some weekends where you're just so frustrated because you're so close, and you can feel it, and you got to keep fighting is the tough part, and that's what the sport's about. You have so many ups and downs. You got to kind of ride that momentum, and not get too low on the lows and not get too high on the highs, and maintain your focus and keep your agenda of what you got to do week in and week out. And we've done a pretty good job of that. I made the mistake last week, and then this week hopefully we'll be perfect and we'll have an opportunity.
Go up front to Lewis.
Lewis Frank of Reuters. How do the Xfinity cars handle the seams? And if you've driven a Cup car here, are they different feeling to you?
Yeah, I have never driven a Cup car here. I've only ran Xfinity. I ran a couple K&N East races. Below the first seam, it's almost off-cambered down there, where it feels like you get up there and de-wedge your car. If you're a little tight, you can get a little bit lower and free your car up. And there's different lines you can run here, obviously, and which makes this place really fun to adjust your car as a driver throughout the race if you're having different handling problems. It's a very fun racetrack, and I always look forward to coming out here and racing.
Any additional questions for Ty? Ty, good luck this
Thank you,
weekend.
guys.